Hey guys, Kat here, and today I'm going to be talking about all the things I read in November, so let's just dive straight in. So first of all, I was randomly talking to one of my friends about poetry. I don't really read a lot, and I mentioned this one poetry book that I actually did read one time and I really enjoyed, and then I just reread it because I had it in my mind and I was gonna lend her this book. Side note, I was actually meant to take this and a couple more when I met up for a Christmas meal, but then I forgot, so it'll have to be a January thing. But yeah, this is White Knuckle by Stephen Bruce. This is a indie published book, and the author reached out to me a couple of years ago, emailed me and asked if I wanted a copy of this book. Like I said, I'm not massively into poetry, but when I heard like the themes and stuff, I was intrigued. It's very much about like dark topics, and that's what I'm a fan of. And this is about his life, and it talks about all different things like family and abuse, drugs, suicide, homelessness. Like there's a lot of stuff in here, and I really enjoyed it again. So yeah, it's dark, and there are some of them, like there's some certain just like lines that I think are really good. So yeah, I like this one poetry book. I probably like some others, but it's just not something I lean towards. Towards. Who needs to say words? But yes, very much enjoyed this one again. After that, I read volume 7 of The Wicked and the Divine, and a bit later in the month I read volume 8, so I'm just going to talk about them both together because it's both the same series, and I can't really say much about it because it's volume 7 and 8 of a series. But this one, there's only one volume left, so it's like very much towards the end. This one, there's a lot of backstory in here, and again, like the volume before this, I feel like I need to reread the whole series all in one go because like sometimes it's a bit confusing. I feel like I need it all in like one after the other. But yeah, there's a lot of backstory, like back how it all started story in here. Obviously everything kicking off because there's only one main volume afterwards. Volume 8 is actually a bind up of a bunch of little mini stories that have been published throughout this series. And at the beginning of this, it did mention that the way that they were released is different to the way that they are in here. So the way that they were released, like, it made sense to what was happening in the story at that time, but the way it has been put into this volume is in chronological order of when it happened throughout time. So it's quite messed up. It's quite hard to follow. There is a list in here. It tells you like if you want to read it as it was released, like after this volume of the proper one, then read this version, and then so I feel like when I reread this series I might do it in that order. I might read it as they were put out, and then maybe it will make more sense. One thing I didn't like about this volume was, if I'm picking up a graphic novel, this is not what I want. I'm not here for this. This is not why I pick up a graphic novel. As soon as I got to this section, there are like a bits of comic in it, but as soon as I got to this section, I literally just ignored this whole bit and went on to the next one and did this at the end because I was like, no, this is not what I'm here for. This amount of words is not what I'm here for. More look, it goes on for ages. So yeah. It happened a couple of times in this series where I open it and then there's just like loads of words, and that is not what I'm here for. It's really annoying in comics. But yeah, it doesn't matter how good your story is, I don't want that many words. I want pictures and words, not just words and words and words and words. It's too much. But yes, other than that, I will read the last volume now, but then reread the whole thing again in one chunk at some point. But yes, I am enjoying it. But also I feel like I need to like get my head around it all again. But yeah, one more volume. And if my camera is wobbling right now, it's because my cat's eating and is leaning against the tripod. Why is your butt leaning? Thank you. Anyway, moving on. After that, I read Icebreaker by A.L. Graziadei. It's probably not how you pronounce that, but honestly, this book was so good. I absolutely loved this. I absolutely ate it up. So what happened was, I picked it up when I went to bed one time because I was like, I'll read a couple of chapters, you know, something fun to read, and then, you know, we'll pick it up. No, I just read it. I went to bed and I read it, and I stayed up however many hours through the night, the whole night. I think I stayed up until like 8 AM potentially. I just read the whole thing because it was so good. I really enjoyed it. This is just a sports contemporary. Also, the washing machine is going crazy right now, so you can probably hear that soz. This is a sports contemporary. It's rivals to lovers. It was just so good. Also, whenever you search icebreaker, there's this other romance book, this like TikTok fancy, you'll find it everywhere, straight ice hockey rom-com thing. I don't know, I've not actually read it, but this one is so good, so pick up this icebreaker. Maybe that one's good as well, I don't know. But yeah, it's just about these guys, and they are both vying to be in the top spot to get the first pick at, is it NFL? It's something. Are those the letters that you need to be? NHL. That makes a lot more sense because hockey begins with a H. Yeah, they want to be the first pick in the NHL. So, and then they're both on the same team at the moment. Throughout their history together, they've been on different teams. Now they're both at the same college, they're both on the same team. They have to, it's like, oh, you need to work together, but also you're rivals, but also, you know, romance ensues. But there's loads of mixed feelings, and it's really good. And like I said, I absolutely ate it up. I read the whole thing in one sitting whilst laid in bed, having a great time. Who needs sleep when you can just sleep on sports contemporary? That's all the sustenance I need. Thank you very much. We're about halfway through, so let's head on over to a message for one of the spawnies, and then I'll be back with the rest of the books. So next up, I read The Double Life of Ted Amos by Simon James Green. This is one of his middle grade books, and this is about Ted, whose parents split up, and then he has to spend some time with his dad, with his new family, and then obviously with his mum. And he's a bit of a nerd, a bit of a geek. He doesn't really have any friends apart from this one friend, and there's a lot of things that he's done in his past that are very embarrassing that all of his school know about, so like that's what they see him as. And then when he goes to his dad's, he wants to be a different person, and I've got something in my eye, so I need to go and look what that is because it's really annoying. So yeah, new life, new name, new outfits, new hip cool way of living, making new friends. But is that really making friends? Because you're not being yourself. So yeah, it was fun. It's Simon James Green, it's going to be fun. There are some silly things that are going on, some wacky things, and in the end obviously it's all about accepting yourself as who you are, but on the way some things ensue, and it was a fun time and a silly time, and I just really enjoy Simon James Green. After that, I read Only This Beautiful Moment by Abdi Nezmian by an author, and this one was really interesting actually. So it's told from three perspectives. It's the grandson, son and father, or if you want to go the other way around, it's a grandfather, father and son, and it's all about their experiences as they're growing up and how this shaped who they are, and how it's potentially shaped how they have been as a parent to the next one down. So it's really interesting like that. I'm gonna try and shut the door a bit more because it's really loud. So I will just take a quick look at the back because you know how terrible I am remembering people's names. So it starts with Maud in 2019, that's the son, and then we have Saeed in 1978, and then Bobby in 1939. So it tells different things. It's about family, it's about culture, it's about sexuality, it's about oppression, it's about all of these different things, and it was really good. So the 1939 one, Bobby, is set in Hollywood. So he's got a single mum, he's Iranian, like his father's Iranian, but he doesn't know who he is, so he's very much in the Hollywood shtick, and she's trying to push him as this like triple threat. She wants him to book all these jobs, she's very selfish. And then in 1978, Saeed, this one takes place in Iran, in Tehran to be exact, and it's about obviously living in this country at this trying time with politics going as they were going. And it's really interesting because it's telling, obviously a lot of people, especially westernized cultures, just see Iran as like what the media would portray it now, but obviously it's all about culture and poetry and music, and it's really rich culturally and also obviously politically. Before stuff got as bad as it was a very open country, that you could see like pictures of women in bikinis and stuff on the beaches, and they had more of they could be more open with who they were. And in this one, the 1978, it's a lot to do with like protesting and stuff. So Saeed is a teenager in this one, and he's out protesting and trying to get the government out and get a new government in, and people having different rights and all that. And then in 2019 with Maud, we're in Los Angeles, and it's about him sort of like coming to terms with who he is. He's lived in America his whole life, and he's only seen his granddad on like FaceTime, but he finally goes to Iran because his grandfather is quite ill. He wants to see them before he dies, and he wants to experience his family again. And he's also gay, so he's trying to deal with that. He has a boyfriend. His dad is like, he knows about it, but he's very much just don't ask, don't tell. And there's a lot of different things weaved into this whole book about why certain prejudices are there, about things that happened in the past, about different people in the book. And it was really good. I really enjoyed it. And this is a random book that I just randomly found in a charity shop. I got it for 3 for £1, and I'm so glad I did, because I really enjoyed it, and I liked the way it was all woven together. I like how it was told. It wasn't like a little chapter. There was like a massive chunk of chapter and then it would go on to a different member of the family, and it would be a massive chunk of chapter and so on. So you did get to see like a big part of each of these men's lives, and obviously culminating and all mixing together in the 2019 one, and them interacting with each other and stuff. Because in the 1978 one, I feel like this might be a bit complicated if you don't know the book, but it does say on the back, so it's not like spoilers or anything. It is about, obviously I said about the protests and stuff, but it is also about Saeed getting taken, well not taken, getting sent to America so he's safe, and that's why the 2019 Maud has been in America his whole life. So yeah, there's a lot of things going on, and like I say, lots of family dynamics and stuff. I really enjoyed the book, and I'm glad I randomly picked it up because I'd never heard of it before. I've never seen anyone talk about it, and I just picked it up on a whim, and I'm very glad I did because I really enjoyed it. And then the last thing I read was Dreams of Gods and Monsters by Laini Taylor. This is the 3rd and final book in the Dora Smoke and Bone trilogy, and again, another book I really loved, so November was a good time. This one, I can't say too much because obviously it's the last book in a trilogy, but I really enjoyed the way it went, how it ended, the different threads that were weaved together in here. And yeah, I'm gonna force my sister to read this series because I feel like she might like it, even though she's still got Half Bad series that I lent her like 74 years ago and she hasn't read them yet. But this is also a series that I want my sister to read because I feel like she might like it. But yeah, in this one, everything is kicked off in the other one. Again, I don't want to go into too much detail about it. And then in here, everything is culminating and smashing together, and stuff happens and things exist. And it was really good, and you learn so much about stuff and things that you didn't know about. And there's new characters brought in here, and they weave really important roles, and I really enjoyed it. It's quite a chunky one. It's definitely bigger than the other two, like 600 and some pages, but very much enjoyed this. I'm so glad that I finally read this series because I've had all 3 books for quite a while. I found the first one in a charity shop, I think. The other 2 I got from the works for like £2 each many years ago, and I finally put the whole series on my TBR this year, and I actually read it and I really enjoyed it, so I'm glad I did. But yeah, like I said, I can't really say much about this series, but I really enjoyed it, and I like the fact that the romance is there, but it's still not like the main thing. I like that there's still stuff happening, there's still reasons and things that are happening that are more important, and you can pine after somebody, but you know, there's bigger fish to fry right now. And I like that, because so many fantasies, like, the biggest thing in the world will be happening and they just kind of like forget and then go and have sex in the demon's place with condoms or whatever it was that Jason Clary did. It was weird. But anyway, yes, very much enjoyed this, and I really want to read more Laini Taylor. Strange the Dreamer is a book that I've heard of many times, and for some reason I've never really looked into it or cared to read it, but now I want to, because I really enjoyed these books and I really enjoyed Laini Taylor's writing. So yes, definitely an author I want to read more of. And there we go, that's everything that I read in November. Let me know down below if you read any of these, what you read in November, anything down there, that's what it's there for. Just say some words if you want, you know. But yeah, do the things if you want, like if you want, comment if you want, subscribe if you want, but only if you want. And yes, I'll be back in a few days with my goals video, my goals for 2025. I'll talk more about my 2024 ones in like a after into 2025, but yeah, come back for that if you want. I'll be here, will you? We shall see.